All right, we're good to go. We are live. We've got some great movie trivia for everybody tonight. So welcome everybody to Trivia Vice. If you haven't joined us before, welcome. Thank you for being on the live version. If you're watching this after the fact, every Monday and Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Dan and I are live with a different trivia game. So definitely think about tuning in live, but it's afterwards too. So what's going on tonight, Dan?
Oh, not too much. I'm just trying to get my pad and pen here. I'm disorganized here, trying to get that all together. I gotta get
this pulled up here so I can watch some comments come across here.
So we're gonna get started in just a minute. So tonight we have movies. So we have the first category is going to be 70 classics. We consider them. So it'll be anything from the 70s and before. Then we have the next one's the 80s, then the 90s, 2000s, and then today, which is 2010s and on. So we got some good ones. I'm ready whenever you are. We'll give it about another minute here.
Yeah, give people a few minutes to hop on, and then we'll get her going. Let's see who we've got in here while we're waiting. So we got Buff Edits in there. Buff Edits is our video editor for our other channel that we do. If you haven't subscribed to that, Retail Underground, definitely check that out. He's editing videos for us on there, and then also he's going to be doing some editing for us on some upcoming videos that we have for this as well. Starting this week on Fridays, there's my cat. Starting on Fridays, we're going to be doing a pre-recorded one. Dan's going to be doing some pre-recorded trivia on there. What do you got for him this week, Dan? First one up.
So in honor of the new Disney Plus show Loki, we're going to do 25 questions about Loki. Some are going to be comic books, some are going to be the MCU, a little bit of both. So I think that's going to be pretty fun. And that's going to be a pre-recorded one, so it's just you can watch at your leisure. You can just play for fun. It's not like this one where it's a little more competitive playing against each other. So
absolutely.
Do you want to get started?
Yeah, let's just get started. We got some peeps on now, so I think we're good here. Let me save that right there, and let me tell it to start here. Bum, 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 bum. Perfect. All right. Let me share my screen. Oops. Come on. Get that off from there. Share it.
I think the first section, 70s, classic movies. So anything from, 1910s all the way to the 70s. I think this is going to be an interesting one because I'm curious if we have any vintage film fans here. Anyone who likes the classics like I do. So you want me to start, Kyle? Or are you going to start?
Yeah, start them off. Here we go.
Right. And here we go. Question number 1. Which Marvel... Whoa, that's weird. Why do we have this one first?
Oh, hold on.
Kyle's
there
like...
we go. Sorry, we were changing one of the last questions there. Sorry about that, guys. I was changing... well, you got a spoiler for the final round, the first one. So, sorry about that. We were messing around with the questions beforehand because we had 2 of them that we wanted to change. We didn't really like what we had picked, and I never switched it back. So here we go. This should be the real deal right here.
Yeah, so just type in 1 through 4 for your answer, and it'll compute it. So here we go. Question number 1. We're doing a restart. In 1975's Jaws, it was based off of a novel from the same name. Who was the author of that novel? Is it Michael Crichton, Peter Benchley, Stephen King, or Bram Stoker?
This is a good question. Dan came up with this. I didn't know the answer. I actually picked something different in terms of who I thought it was, just because I know Dan and I know what he likes to read, and I was way off.
So fun fact, Peter Benchley wrote the novel. It was really his only famous novel, and he actually regrets writing the novel. He said if he could go back in time, he wishes he never wrote Jaws because Jaws spurned about 20 years of people just hating and killing sharks because they were misinformed about it. And he said, and he was an oceanographer, so he knew, and a biologist, so he knew most sharks really aren't like these mindless man-eaters, but he portrayed it that way to make a good story.
I thought it was Crichton, because I know he wrote Jurassic Park, so I thought it was him. And I threw Stephen King in there just because everybody knows who that is. So,
question number 2: which classical actors portrayed Dracula more than any other? So Peter Cushing, Ian McKellen, Gary Oldman, or Christopher Lee. So two of these actors have actually portrayed Dracula. One portrayed Van Helsing, and one has not been in a Dracula movie.
One of them was, oh man, Tess would know this. The Lord of the Rings.
He was Gandalf.
Yeah,
so Ian McKellen was Gandalf.
The guy's name.
Peter Cushing.
I don't know that, but yes.
Peter Cushing is also in Star Wars. He played Van Helsing quite a few times. Gary Oldman played him in Dracula in the 1992 version by Francis Ford Coppola. But Christopher Lee played Dracula 10 times in Hammer films. That's pretty much what he's
Lee's a legend.
He is. He's been in the most films of any actor or actress in history.
Yeah, that guy, he was still doing it like in his 80s.
Yeah. Question number 3. What year did King Kong come out? We're talking about the original one. 1943, 1953, 1923, or 1933? So it's actually 2 years. I'll give you a hint. It's 2 years 3 years after the Empire State Building was constructed. So it was constructed 3 years after. They wanted to include it in the finale, which is why they did.
I did not know that.
So it is 1933. And the Empire State Building was built in 1930. Sorry, my math was a little bad there.
Yeah, I would not have gotten that one. I'm a big movie fan. I would not have gotten that one. I'm not as good with the classics. I'm definitely better from like the 80s forward.
So that one was 1933. A lot of people got that one right. There was one in, what was it, 1973, I think it was? Jeff Bridges.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So question number 4. In The Wizard of Oz, who is the first ally Dorothy meets on her journey to Oz? Is it the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Lion, or the Wizard? Which, let's be honest, we all know it's not the Wizard. But
yeah, Dan and I both had to look this answer up. We knew this was a question we wanted to do. I mean, you got to do Wizard of Oz, but I got to be honest, I haven't seen the movie in probably 15 years.
Yeah. Sean says 76 was King Kong. Okay, 76.
Dude, I'm telling you, Sean is a professional trivia player.
Mm-hmm. I haven't been paying attention. How's he been doing this round, though?
I think pretty good, but
I think Haley says, I think we're all getting this. See, Kyle and I both, I've seen the Wizard of Oz.
I would not have gotten that. I would have struggled with that.
I would have guessed Scarecrow, but I wasn't sure if it was that or Tin Man. I knew it was one of the two. I don't know. I guess I haven't seen it enough times. All right, so final question for the first round. What was the term used for Westerns in the 1960s and 70s? Was it noir, fantasy, spaghetti Westerns, or none of the above? Oh, Hallie says like Halle Berry. Oh, okay.
A lot of people getting that one right.
Yeah, so spaghetti Westerns were very popular in the 60s and 70s. They were called that because a lot of them were made like Fistful of Dollars, Man with No Name, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, all by Italian producers and directors like Sergio Leone. So a lot of Italians were involved in them, which I'm not honestly sure why. I think because they were cheap to make and they made a lot of money.
I wouldn't have gotten that one either. This would have definitely been the round that I struggled with. I love movies, but classics are definitely not my forte.
So let's see.
Let's see. Yep, as predicted.
So we got Sean, Curtis, and Stephanie all with 5. They each get a point here going into round number 2. A couple people with 4. But let's see. Hang on. And Curtis. All right. So, guys, also remember that time also plays a factor. So, if we have multiple people get everything right, Sean got first place because he answered the quickest out of everybody for those answers. So if it's like a 4 or 5 way tie, it gets broken up by time.
All right, moving into the 80s. This is the good stuff right here.
We got our weird countdown. We got our wacky countdown here.
Oh yeah, it loves to do it. All right, here we go. Emilio Estevez's character in The Breakfast Club would most commonly be known as a what? Brain, rebel, jock, or loser?
You know, interestingly enough, I don't think I've ever heard anyone call someone a brain. And it could be because it's just an older term, or is it just
at the end of the movie, though, when they write the essay for it, they say one of them's a brain. Now, this is one I know that Tess will get right because this is one of her favorite movies, and I'll be honest, I had never seen this movie until Tess and I got together, and now it's on TV like all the time, and we watch it all the time. I actually really enjoy it, but I had never seen it up until that point.
You know what's funny? Emilio Estevez, the thought of him being a jock, is kind of funny just because like I was watching the Mighty Ducks the other day finally again, and you know Gordon Bombay, the great hockey player, and I'm just laughing because like it's Emilio Estevez.
I don't he's like 5'5" and
yeah, exactly.
All right, number 2. What action blockbuster takes place in Nakatomi Plaza? Big Trouble in Little China, The Karate Kid, Ghostbusters, or Die Hard?
This is one I think I'm going to get some people. So far, I haven't gotten anyone, and I'm a little sad.
I thought for sure we'd get at least.
I thought someone would get Big Trouble in Little China just because
that was the first thing I said when we came up with the question, and I'm like, oh wait, no shit, it's Die Hard.
Yeah, Curtis said Warzone. Yeah, there's they built Nakatomi Plaza, a pretty accurate one I might add, for Die Hard in Warzone. But yeah, it is Die Hard.
Wow, everybody getting it.
Yeah,
did not expect that. I'll be honest.
I didn't either. I'm kind of happy. The ultimate Christmas movie, Die Hard.
Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I've seen it. I need to rewatch it. But all right, number 3. What film that came out in 1980 had the highest gross domestically? And we spelled domestically wrong. Airplane, Return of the Jedi, The Empire Strikes Back, or E.T. So interestingly enough, at least one of these movies was not in 1980. It was in 1983. So Return of the Jedi came out in 83. Empire came out in 80. I'm not sure when
Airplane was actually number 2 in the highest grossing films in 1980, believe it or not.
And then E.T. I don't think was 80.
I think it was like 82. But Airplane made $150 million worldwide, which obviously is a lot of money back then, especially. And Empire made I think $550 million. So
happy to see both of our wives got that one.
Yep.
We've pretty much drilled that into their minds at this point, I think.
I can't believe I spelled domestically wrong. Jesus.
All right, number 4. What actor was originally going to play Marty McFly in Back to the Future? Was it Michael J. Fox, who ended up playing him, Eric Stoltz, Mark Hamill, or Billy Crystal?
So this is the first actor to portray Marty McFly. So interesting idea here is Michael J. Fox was originally planned to play Marty McFly, but he was too busy filming his TV show, so he wasn't actually able to. So Eric Stoltz filmed about a month and a half of film with the entire cast. They did the entire going back in the future scene at JCPenney parking lot and everything. Producers absolutely hated it. And the poor guy has not been known since. And everyone knows Michael J. Fox, and they replaced him when Michael J. Fox was available. But yeah, a month and a half of production. And then they went back and scrapped it. Which is kind of crazy. They would not do that nowadays, I don't think. There's just too much money involved in movies now.
Yeah. All right. Where was the name? No. What was the name of the lead character in the film Dirty Dancing? Frances Baby Houseman, Penny Johnson, Rita Gould, Vicky Pressman.
It's a few grammatical errors here. I think I'm gonna blame the computer on that one. It's autocorrect. That's what it must be. So this one, Dirty Dancing, I've seen more times than I'd like to admit. That's a pretty good film. I enjoy it.
I'm going to guess, looking at the comments, I think everybody got this one.
Yeah, I think they did.
Hallie says nobody puts baby in a corner.
The movie that really made Patrick Swayze.
Yep.
And of course, he was in many others, but I feel like that's the one he's most known for. Is Dirty Dancing?
I think so. Yeah.
So we got 2 repeats here. We got Sean.
A lot of people doing well in that round.
Yeah. And again, guys, remember, so like Cedar Sense here got 3rd, Curtis, Buff Edits, Tom, and Dirk, Tess. Holy cow, we got a lot of people. Just weren't fast enough. So speed does matter. Remember that. So Sean and Stephanie, Curtis still has 1, and Cedar Sense hops up on the board now with 1 as well. So we got a tie for 1st and 2nd place going into round 3. We're into the 90s now. So the 90s were interesting because, yeah, there's just so many movies we wanted to do for every. It was hard to really pick specific movies you want to do because there's just so many you can do.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to do a bunch of movie specific trivias. Same thing like when we did Disney, it was kind of the same thing. Like there's so much stuff you want to cover, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna have to do a bunch of these. So yeah, we'll definitely have more movie trivias coming in the near future.
So question number 1, which blockbuster film made stop-motion animator Phil Tippett comment that his job would soon be extinct? Titanic, Jurassic Park, Godzilla, or Ghost? And the comment was actually rewritten for the film. It is actually for Jurassic Park. Dr. Grant says he looks like we're out of the job, and Dr. Malcolm says, "Don't you mean extinct?" Because Phil Tippett was in the industry for about 25 years as a puppeteer and a stop motion animator, and he's still actually in that job because they need those kind of people when they do CGI. He kind of pioneered the technique to help with body movement and getting the right positioning for bodies. So he still is. He's actually probably the most famous guy to do that still. So he did not go extinct. He's just a little different looking of a job.
And you gotta love Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. Best movie ever made. Question number 2. What sequel more than doubled its predecessor's box office total? Is it Lost World Jurassic Park, Terminator 2, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Ghostbusters 2?
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, this was an interesting one because...
I mean, as you say, I know the answer to it, but I feel like you could make a case for just about all of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. So Terminator 2 made over $500 million, and it was the highest grossing rated R movie for a long time. The first Terminator, the funny thing is it made a lot of money, but it was on such a shoestring budget. It was kind of the reason it was considered such a success. It was a cult classic, but not really. T2 really is what made it a blockbuster, the whole franchise. And then we kind of forget about the abominations that happened after that. But T2 is still probably the greatest action movie ever made.
It's definitely one of the best sequels ever made, for sure.
Yeah. The Lost World made $700 million, not quite as much as Jurassic Park. Question number 3. What director's film made the most combined money in terms of box office receipts in the 1990s? James Cameron, George Lucas, Ron Howard, or Steven Spielberg? So this is an interesting one because all of them had very popular movies in the 90s. It's kind of whoever had the most. This is kind of like
I actually wasn't with you when you made this question, and I actually didn't know this was on here, so I want to take a stab at it.
You better hurry.
I'm gonna go with James Cameron, even though he only had T2 and Titanic.
He did, but Steven Spielberg had The Lost World, Jurassic Park. What else did he have here? Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
He actually kind of.
Oh, I forgot Saving Private Ryan was in the
Steven
90s.
Spielberg had, out of the top 40 grossing movies in the 90s, he had 5 movies on there. Wow. Or 4 movies out of the top. So 10% of the movies were Steven Spielberg directed. That's crazy. Question number 4. Who voices the villain Scar in the Disney animated film The Lion King? Is it James Earl Jones, Matthew Broderick, Jeremy Irons, James Woods? So one of these guys is a villain in another movie for Disney. Happened a couple years later. And
the other 3 are all in The Lion King.
Yeah, exactly.
Depends on who did the voice. In my opinion, one of the best voiceovers ever. Yeah, he was like so convincing in that role.
Now, Sean, you got to confirm this with me, but I think Jeremy Irons, if he was given more screen time, could have been the best Alfred representation in Batman. I thought he was phenomenal in the little amount of time we got to see him in Batman v Superman. Love Jeremy Irons. He's a great actor. So James Earl Jones played Mufasa, I should say. Wow, Stephanie, the Disney Princess Queen. Did not get that one right. Final question for the 90s. What was the name of the diamond in the film Titanic? The Hope Diamond, the Heart of the Ocean, the Diamond of the Sea, or the Frost Diamond?
This would be interesting, too, because when they actually say what the name of it is, they actually say it would be worth more than one of the other ones on this list.
Yeah, you're right. So it is the Heart of the Ocean.
Yeah, and they actually say in the film, if it was around today, it'd be worth more than the Hope Diamond, which I think is considered to be the most, like, the rarest and, like, the most valuable diamond there is, right?
Yeah, and I'm not honestly sure why. Is it just its sheer size?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. Do they keep? Where do they keep it in, like, Washington D.C., don't they?
I have no idea.
Or New York, maybe, or I don't know, one of them. But I'm pretty sure I've seen it, and it is pretty massive.
So it looks like that one's going to put Stephanie. She's not going to place this round. So for the first round, she is not. She said in her defense she saw Lion King and James Earl Jones and could only think of me telling of him being in the movie. Well, that's fair. So Sean, once again, gets a point on here. Same with Cedar Sense, so that gets him 2. And Tess gets on the board with 1
point. A lot of people with 4 on that one.
Yes, yeah. So it's just that one was a time thing. So Tess and Curtis both have 1. Cedar Sense and Steph have 2, and Sean with 3.
Getting interesting going into the 2000s.
So
I don't remember what questions we put for the 2000s. So this is going to be interesting because I don't remember all of them.
I think I did these ones. I don't know if you did. I did most of these ones for the movies.
Yeah, you had most of the questions on this game.
All right. Now we're going to start now that it's doing its... Oh, just kidding.
Oh, yeah, you got to
rewind. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Question number 1. What actor
reprised this popular role in Men in Black 2 and 3 playing Agent J? Tommy Lee Jones, Patrick Warburton, Martin Lawrence, or Will Smith?
You know,
first you have to have seen it, and you got to know which one Agent J is.
Yeah, so it's not obvious. It's obviously It's Will Smith. I shouldn't say obviously, but it's Will Smith.
Sean missed that one.
But you know, Patrick Warburton is in Men in Black 2. He plays his new agent buddy before he gets back with Tommy Lee Jones, and he's so great in that like 5 to 10 minute part. And then you never see him again. It's such a shame. I love Patrick Warburton. He's a great actor. He's got the most amazing voice. If you've seen Rules of Engagement, it's a great show. Highly recommend.
And we didn't get anybody with Martin Lawrence.
No.
we were looking for a 4th name to throw in there. So Dan asked me, I'm like, I mean, Martin Lawrence was in Bad Boys with him. So maybe somebody will think of that. All right, number 2. What film was the highest grossing film of the 2000s? Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Spider-Man, Avatar, or Iron Man? So this is interesting because one of them, I believe, had the highest grossing opening weekend, but the one that was actually the highest grossing really didn't have like a massive opening weekend. It just had crazy longevity.
typical James Cameron film where it's just got same with Titanic. Titanic was #1 for 15 straight weeks, but I don't think it ever like broke records for one particular week. It just makes a lot of money long term, and it's word of mouth. And
well,
again,
it performed extremely well over in China, which has always been the thing that hurts like Star Wars. That Star Wars isn't big over in China, but so Spider-Man had the biggest opening of all time, and then I think it was actually broken by Revenge of the Sith. They had the biggest opening ever, and then Avatar didn't have a huge opening, but it just, I mean, it went on for like half a year. What film is the best-selling DVD in history? Finding Nemo, Shrek, Spider-Man, or Lord of the Rings: Return of the King?
This one was, I did not know this. Kyle and I, this was a really interesting one. I did not know this. This was a fun fact to learn.
Yeah, this one shocked me. I knew that this was the highest, at the time, the highest grossing animated film. It broke the Lion King's record. So it is Finding Nemo.
Yeah, who knew?
What's that?
I said, yeah. I mean, no, I don't think anyone got that right. I would not.
Right. Well, when we were, because we were like, oh, we could do something on like something animated like in the early 2000s, and I had said Finding Nemo, I know like broke the Lion King's record, and then we actually found out it doesn't hold the record anymore. But then we found out it's the highest selling DVD in history.
And the ironic thing is, I own the DVDs of the other 3 films on this list, and not Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Who voices Princess Fiona in the Shrek franchise? Sandra Bullock, Katie Holmes, Cameron Diaz, Julie Andrews.
So, interesting thing about this one is I believe Cameron Diaz was not the first choice for Fiona. Oh, shoot. My bad. Well, I just told the answer. But that's okay.
Has anybody that waited till the end? Dan gave
I think everyone had answered already at that point.
I was say, but if they waited all the way to the end, then chances are they were too slow on the draw anyway. So,
but yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't Sandra Bullock, but who was it? I'm trying to think. I cannot remember now. But anyway, Julie Andrews plays Fiona's mother in Shrek 2 and 3 and probably 4.
Does she really?
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that was her. I knew John Cleese was the father, but I never knew that.
Oh, Hallie said the same thing. Yep, Julie Andrews voices the mom. Yep.
Huh. I never knew that. I learned something new today. All right, number 5. What was the highest grossing superhero movie of the 2000s? Spider-Man 2, The Dark Knight, X-Men 2, or Hulk?
So this one's interesting because I mean, let's be honest. Nobody is going to guess Hulk because the 2003 Hulk is just a terrible movie. I remember
that's the one with Eric Bana, right?
Yes, I remember.
That was bad.
It's such a boring movie. It's so bad. It's so bad. I mean, I remember seeing it, and 10-year-old me was like, or 11-year-old me was. I was so like, it's disappointing. It's just so bad. It's like a drama with bad CGI.
Oh, yeah. Oh, terrible CGI.
Buff Edits puts it in there. He goes, hey, okay, he reclaimed himself. Okay, he didn't put. Yeah, so The Dark Knight grossed over $1.2 billion, which is crazy. That's The Dark Knight, or Batman Begins grossed like $500 million. So it not only doubled, it more than doubled. That's insane. So this one gets Curtis at 2 points.
Put Steph at 3, I think.
Put Stephanie at 3, tied with Sean going into the final round.
Buff Edits just beating out Tess for that 3rd spot.
And Buff Edits with 1.
So we're going to have a close one going into the...
We are going to have a close one. All right. Question number 1. Which Marvel movie was the first to break over $1 billion? The Avengers, Iron Man, Captain America, or Thor? So this is interesting because a lot of people are very nostalgic over Iron Man. I think a lot of people forget it. Yeah, but it didn't really make a ton. I mean, it made compared to
as you say, it made a lot of money. But you can tell what we were actually just talking about this today. You can tell watching that movie. I mean, it's a great movie. It's one of the best movies that Marvel has done. But it's definitely they weren't setting up the rest of the
Not clear.
yeah, they didn't have the rest of the MCU figured out at that point.
Yeah. Question number 2: Who starred alongside Sandra Bullock in 2013's Gravity? Is it George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, or Hugh Jackman? I have not seen Gravity. It's one of those movies that I think I'm not going to like because it's one of those that doesn't have a big cast. It's just
it was good. It was good. I remember I saw it in theaters. It was good.
I know people loved it for its effects, and I'm sure its effects were great. But at the same time, your effects you're doing are space. Like,
yeah,
you're not having to conjure up a dinosaur or a cool lightsaber fight or like zombies or anything. Like, literally, it's space. I mean, I shouldn't rip on it too much because I'm sure it's incredibly hard. But like,
well, it was definitely one of those movies where it was definitely one of those movies where after I saw it once, I probably don't need to ever see it again.
Mitch
or
says
if I do, maybe not for like 20 years.
Well, Mitch, the movie reviewer, says it's aight. So that makes I'm not going to watch it if it's just aight. Question number 3: In the Star Wars sequel trilogy, who is the lead villain of the films? Darth Maul, Kylo Ren, Count Dooku, or General Hux? So this is interesting because up until
the word sequel is the main thing on there too, because you had the prequels and the sequels.
Right. Well, I mean, you had up until episode 9, I'd actually argued General Hux was, and then when they rewrote him to be this pathetic, wimpy character, because before that, honestly, I think he was more of a villain than Kylo was.
Just because Kylo was so
conflicted. He was a psycho. Or not Kylo, but General Hux was an absolute psycho. The dude was nuts.
Kylo is by far the best character of the new films because
it's not really saying much, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's like the saving grace of that debacle.
Mitch says Darth Maul. I wish Darth Maul was in the sequel trilogy. That would be amazing.
You got that right.
So, question number 4: Who was cast as Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games movies? Amy Adams, Katie Holmes, Emily Blunt, or Jennifer Lawrence?
Mitch says he was bamboozled on the last one. I'm guessing he thought we meant prequel instead of sequel.
Yep. I'm going to say, so I feel like Jennifer Lawrence's star power is starting to fade a little bit. I don't know.
I would agree. You don't hear a lot about her anymore. She used to be in everything.
Yeah, people loved her and stuff, but honestly, there's not anything that I'm ever like blown away by her. And like, I don't think she's I think she plays the same character in almost everything she's in. Like, she was a terrible Mystique in the new X-Men movies. She was awful.
Yeah.
But come to find out, she just did it for the money. She didn't actually really care about the character, so that's kind of sad. Stephanie says, Sean, how are you so fast? He's fast. Mitch says they had a fan club in high school. Question number 5, the final question of the night. Which film was surprisingly the highest grossing film of 2013? Despicable Me 2, Iron Man 3, Frozen, or Hunger Games Catching Fire? So all these movies made a boatload of money. Iron Man 3 made over $1 billion, correct? Which was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It kind of came off the heels of the Avengers and everything, even though it didn't get great reception. But Frozen
tore it up. Nobody expected it. It kind of came out of nowhere.
It did, but I will say I think it's the most overrated Disney movie in all time. I'm not a fan.
Personally, I prefer the second one to the first one. I don't know. I prefer the second one to the first one. I mean, I've seen them both at this point. Oh man, I don't even know how many times. And they're good. I like them. I like the second one better than the first one though.
Okay. Tess says, take that back, Daniel. I called Tess. I just want to let you know I called the plot twist with what the hell is his name? The one guy being the villain all along, only wanting to marry her for kingdom and money. Literally called that the first 5 minutes of the film. And at the end, Stephanie looks at me and is like, how? I was like, because this is just terrible. I get it, it's a kid's movie, but shame on you, Disney.
Oh, Sean says Kyle, the second one is better, but Moana beats them all.
Moana is definitely better.
I do enjoy Moana. I mean, how can you not like The Rock as a voice character. Like doing a voiceover, he's amazing. And I will say that guy can sing.
Yeah, he can do everything.
He's this big macho guy. Oh yeah, he can.
Joey says, spoiler. Sorry, Joey. If you haven't seen Frozen, you're the only. I'm sure there's 2 or 3 of you left on the planet. Yeah, that's what happens. But anyway, interestingly enough, Cedar Sense has 3 points, so he gets second place. Stephanie and Sean, we have a tiebreaker. So I did have a Batman movie question for the tiebreaker, but I feel like that's not very fair since Sean is our quintessential Batman fan here other than me. So I'm going to change it, and we're going to do, let's see here. What are we going to do? What, Kyle, pick an era. Okay, go ahead.
Well, actually, I probably should. Well, I don't think Steph would know this.
Pick an era for us. Any of the 70s or before, 80s, 90s, 2000s, or 2010s.
All right, hold on. Let me pull this down here. Let's pull this back up over here. All right, let's go 80s.
Okay, so the person, anyone can answer this, but Stephanie and Sean, the first to answer and the closest to answer, if you don't answer correctly, are going to get this right. So let's see. What year did Raiders of the Lost Ark come out?
Ooh.
You'll tell me if they answered.
Yeah, I'm watching the comments on here.
Oh, well, that was quick. Sean said 1981. That is correct. It did come out in 1981. Steph said 86.
Steph went with 86.
Yeah, you're a little late there, Steph, but looks like that's Sean. Sean wins the movie trivia here, so it gets Sean at 5 points. Stephanie second place, Cedar Sense in third place, and a couple of people got fourth. So actually, Curtis got fourth. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Sean says 14 BC is my favorite answer because Mitch said came out in 14 BC. Raiders is a great movie, Mitch. You take that back. Although I will say Temple of Doom, I think, is actually better.
Mm-hmm.
I said it right there.
Yeah, Tess and I both prefer Temple of Doom.
I'm never taking it back.
I like darker movies like that. What can I say?
Yep.
Like,
so
they got criticized for going too dark on that.
The darker the better. Because guess what happens? What happens when Indiana Jones gets fun and light? You get Shia LaBeouf, people. Is that what we all want? You get Shia LaBeouf in a movie with Indiana Jones, and it's terrible. That's awful. Right. We don't want that.
All right. Here's the question I was going to go with. I don't think Steph would know this, but which Rocky movie is my favorite?
Kyle's going by. I mean, no one knows other than me which one that would be. But I'm curious what they say though. Sean says 4, so Rocky 4.
So when I was in high school, 4 was definitely my favorite. I loved that whole 80s thing and like Drago and all that. But Steph actually is correct. As I've gotten older, I appreciate the second one.
Rocky 2 is my favorite. Followed closely by Rocky 3.
I just say a lot of people say Rocky 3. I like the training montage in 2. I like the fight in 2. I like the whole story arc.
Yeah,
them getting married, them having a baby. She goes into a coma. Like, it's interesting.
That part I could do without, but you know
that part of it they probably could have like cut that down in half. But yeah. Dan gives me hate because I actually like Rocky 5 too.
Stop. Nobody likes Rocky 5.
But I don't think it's as bad of a movie as people.
Sean has Rocky 5 as Rocky 5, unless you enjoy being flogged to death for 2 hours, that's what Rocky 5 is. When the guy's name is Tommy and the Machine Gun. Okay.
It's cheesy, but
it's bad. It's so bad.
Tess says 4. When I was younger, that was it. 4 was definitely the best. Mitch says 4 ain't bad. It's slept on. Yeah. 4 is definitely up there for me.
Rambo would smoke Rocky straight up. Yeah, Rambo is way better.
Oh yeah, that was like Stallone in his prime right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Caden says Sexy missed it. Yeah, so Caden, 10, excuse me, not 10, 9:30 Monday and Wednesday. So if you we'll be here Wednesday night as well. So at 9:30. So guys, thank you so much for watching. We will see you then. Until then, have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.